and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
It's that time, y'all. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. It's straight talk with Valerie. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. Over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my own grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more weeping, don't you know? No more weeping. No more weeping over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my own grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom.
What's happening? What's happening, Detroit? You are tuned in to 88.1 FM WHPR. This is the Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream show, Straight Talk with Valerie. And tonight we have again in the studio, on the live actually, Trische Duckworth. Say what's happening, Trische.
What's going on, Detroit? Hey, Valerie and Mayor.
Hey, hey, hey. And we have the mayor, the unofficial mayor of the city of Ypsilanti, Mr. Bryan Foley.
Hey, Valerie. Hey, Trische. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. We're so happy to have you
Good,
embrace
good.
our presence. What we're going to talk about tonight is laws. And the acronym for laws is legally allowing white supremacy in the justice system, but not justice, just us. So legally allowing white supremacy in the just us system. Let's go back, because we talk about law and we talk about order. Well, lynching was law and order at one time, and it seems like it is today. You see, law is a process of authoritative control where certain empowered community members establish and maintain a particular order. Therefore, if a police officer or a judge deems it is in the best interest of public order to treat blacks one way and whites another, then that's the law. But it's not justice. The law legally allows white supremacy for the justice system. Now, let me say one more thing. Article 1 of the Constitution says slaves are 3/5 of a person. Now, we know how old the Constitution is. But let me just dig this for a minute, because math does not lie. There was a case of Justine Damon, who was shot by a black cop. Her family was awarded $20 million. Breonna Taylor was shot by a white cop, and she was awarded $12 million, which is 3/5 of $20 million. So we're still worth
I'm running that again.
3/5.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm gonna just set that on the floor. Now let's get it. What you think about that, Mr. Foley?
Wow, that you did the math right there. That kind of shocked me right there when you know, because that's what the Constitution says. Legally advancing white supremacy laws.
Yep, legally allowing white supremacy.
Legally allowing.
Yep,
right?
legally allowing.
Allowing. Let me build on that if I can.
Sure.
When you first came up with that and you hit me with that floored me. It really did. And I started meditating on it that night. Let it go through my head. And like I said, I'm gonna build on it just a little bit. How about legislatively advancing white supremacy?
Absolutely.
Through the legislation. You get what I'm saying? Because before something becomes legal and it becomes a law, it has to go through legislation. Okay, I'm gonna start it because you said the Constitution. Let me read what the preamble of the Constitution says. Right? Check this out. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Now, that's the preamble to the Constitution. But it says we the people. We know that we were not part of the people, right?
Right.
We didn't come into the Constitution, and we came in as a legal entity as persons. People and persons is two different things. Now, the domestic tranquility and liberty is ordained to ourselves, not me and you, and to their posterity, which is their future generation. So the preamble to the Constitution, that part has never been amended when we start to talk. So the legislation part starts way back there when it's written into law. And you were just describing that right there. So prior to that, and I always tell people about, you have to understand where this began at the Bacon's Rebellion. Now, what happened after Bacon's Rebellion was they created a divide and conquer system. And this is what happened. Blacks were prevented from holding public office. They were prevented from testifying against whites. And they, more importantly, the most dangerous thing the most detrimental thing that happened to us, we were prevented from possessing weapons. All this was legislatively done, right? Which created the laws, which grew into the black codes, which came out of the slave codes into the Jim Crow era. All this stuff was done legally, but it was done legislatively. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about legally allowing white supremacy, legislatively advancing white supremacy through these laws, through the legislation process. So when we begin to understand that it's the laws, and you broke that down, you get what I'm saying? And when you talk to me about this, is that we're attacking a system of systemic racism and pressism, but we're attacking it at the, we're fighting the smoke, right? We're not putting the fire out at the base. Mm-hmm. When you fight a fire, you have to put water on to the base. So when we show up, we're just fighting the smoke. not the flames. So we need to, like you say, get at the legislation level, and that way we can change the laws or get the laws removed so that we become the people, part of the people, and no longer be a person.
That was the perfect segue for our warrior sister, because we have talked about this many times before, especially on this show, but the three of us, this trilogy, in that, yeah, we can march, but then what?
Then what?
So
right.
This is the then what? So what's
Exactly.
next? And that's when Survivor Speaks comes strong, in the what's next, because she takes it to the street, but then she also is fighting for that legislation. So sis, what you think about that? 3/5 of that 20 million is exactly 12.
I can't even believe that number.
Right.
I'm not surprised, but to see it in your face is sickening. And if I'd be honest, it knocked the wind out of me, really.
Yeah, it is me too.
Because it's real,
Yeah, it's real. It tripped me out when I was just sitting there thinking about it one day. Like, how did she, the same thing now. The same thing. A police shot a civilian that should not have been shot. The only difference is the skin color. She's white, shot by a black cop. Breonna Taylor's black, shot by a white cop. The white girl gets awarded $20 million. Breonna Taylor's family, $12 million, which is exactly 3/5, which that Article 1 of the Constitution says that slaves are 3/5 of a person.
Right. When I look back at that, understanding when I was talking about from the Constitution, understand women, not only did black people didn't have rights, right? Women didn't have rights also. Women were considered persons of the white male patriarchy system, right? Because that's what we're dealing with is a patrilineal system. So the women didn't even have rights also too. Women, black or white, didn't get the right to vote until that was amended into the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at, we're still arguing to this day, fighting for the day, not just for blacks to get equal pay as white men, but women to get same pay as white men. So where did that all stem from? Let's begin back up a few centuries, whatever. Black men did the same amount of work as indentured servants and as free persons as white people did, but they weren't paid the same. You know why? The reason why they weren't paid the same is because a black man couldn't go to the same places as a white man do. He couldn't go into town. He couldn't go in the stores. He couldn't go sit at Woolworth's counter. So therefore, he didn't need as much money as the white man did to survive because he wasn't allowed to go to the same places that they did. So therefore, when you start looking at into further on to today, when a black man is killed, or is what you're talking about, what Breonna was killed, is because our lives are not as valuable or as valued as a white person. So I'm still like Trische. I'm still dumbfounded over, there it is right in black and white, 3/5 of the amount. Because I read back into the preamble of the Constitution, we the people does not include us even as to this day. Mm-hmm. We're considered persons and not a people. We're just like chattel right now. When you look at corporate, understanding what a business is up underneath the law of person, when you look in Black's Law Dictionary, you see that a person is a business entity. And when you start looking at it as a corporation, you begin to understand why we're considered persons and not people, because we're not on the same plane even as today with white people.
I agree. Trische, any more feedback?
I was thinking about what you said, brother, about we're not putting the fire out at the base. And I was talking to a reporter earlier today, and he wanted an assessment of what we feel like is going on. And, I just kind of told him, I said, when we were out Saturday, that was the biggest focus. Like, okay, where do we go from here? Now, we've always marched with a mission. but not everybody does that. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like you got people out here, and really, if you marching with no mission, you ain't doing nothing but burning calories. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And so it's about attacking legislatively and coming together, putting our heads together, figure out where do we start first. And I was talking to someone else earlier today, and they said that in their area, they were working on some things. They were working on racial injustice. They were working on deportation. They were working on the pay scale to women. They were working on these things. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, generally when that happens, you pick the lowest hanging fruit, then the next lowest hanging fruit, then the next lowest hanging fruit. And that means out of those 4 things that I named, we're forced. So we always get pushed to the back burner. And I think, Bryan, you talk about that a lot. You know, how the movement is shadowed and how and that's the thing, we can't let that happen. We have to keep this movement at the forefront and keep it. Somebody said, well, why don't you make the forum about race, socioeconomic disparities? Because it's not about that. It's about this. We got to keep the flame under it, and we got to put the fire out at the base, just like Brother said.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we're going to move to this break. Hold that thought, because when we come back, we're going to talk about law and justice. We will be right back, folks.
We will not bow down to racism. Yeah, we will not bow down to injustice. We will not bow down to exploitation. What you gonna do? I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I just can't tolerate racism. I just can't tolerate injustice. I just won't tolerate exploitation. What you gonna do? I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. We will not obey racism. We will not obey injustice. We will not obey exploitation. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand.
So you are listening to 88.1 FM, Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie. And tonight we're keeping it 100 with my brother and my sister. You can call us the Trilogy. I have the unofficial mayor of Ypsilanti, Bryan Foley, and my warrior sister, Trische Duckworth. And we're breaking it on down. Laws, as my brother put it, legislatively allowing white supremacy in the just us system. So before we went to break, Trische was mentioning that, or reiterating that Bryan had said we don't put the fire out at the base. So there's a big difference between law and justice. And when we conflate the two, we are blinded by the injustice of the system, because a lot of people say, you know, well, that's not legal and that's not the law. Yes, it is.
Yes, it
It's
is.
not justice,
Right.
but it's the law. And that's why when the Attorney General, although yes, that thing that went down in Kentucky, the Black Attorney General is married to Mitch McConnell's granddaughter and all of that. But I still say, with all of that aside, all the cooning put to the side, he was following the law.
Right.
It was something to the letter of the law that he followed to come up with that conviction. And we can look at it however we want to, but he found some law to back up what he was saying, to put that conviction out there. And that's what he did. So this brings me to another thing. Politicians who claim to be law and order, but go silent when we need law and order. And I'm going to say that again. Politicians who claim to be about law and order, but go silent when we need law and order. Then they're looking at what law, what order, what justice. Like they don't know what the hell we talking about. The one that you was just marching on last week, or the one you was just on CNN about, or whatever it was. That's what we're talking about. So don't play like you don't know what we are talking about. And so we have a lot of issues that have to be confronted, but that's one of them. You know, those wolves in sheep clothing.
Come on.
Pretending like they for us. You know, I don't think so. And I don't expect law and order politicians to balance these scales. That's when we come into action, you know, and we have to weigh those hypocrites on the scale of justice and stop voting for them and stop supporting them and stop doing the things that we do. Hold them accountable. The white power structure will continue to straight up ignore the black agenda and alleviate hundreds of years of inequality in the black community. They will continue to do it until we do something about it.
Right.
And we have to. And the entrenched levels of inequality that is plaguing the black community was created legally by white supremacy and the system of racism to keep black people oppressed in America forever. And I'll let my brother or my sister come on in after that, because it was designed to keep us this way forever, and it looked like it's working.
Yeah. It looks like it's doing its job because, you know, we allowed it, and we continue to talk to the people about that, right? Like, what do you expect when we drop the ball, right? I feel like we as I hate saying black people, right? But I feel like we melanated folks, some of us got comfortable. You know what I'm saying? We were able to get jobs. We were able to get little houses and little trinkets and things of this nature. And those things I feel like rocked us to sleep. And we, I guess, thought that we were in a place where we really weren't at. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because these systemic measures were at work all around us. And so just because a few of us benefited by the trinkets and the material things, it allowed us to just have this fantasy of freedom. And so we're saying right now, okay, we marching for freedom. How y'all marching for freedom? Well, we never really had freedom. Why? Because freedom never really was designed for us. Now, can we make it be for us? Yeah, but it has to be through strategic planning. It has to be through understanding. Like Brother said, laws got to be changed. We got to hold people accountable. I mean, it's a whole slew of things to do because it's not just one road to this, right?
No.
I mean, this demon is like so large, it's so big, and we got to come at it from every angle. And it's just my hope that everybody will just find their lane and just work hard at it, because that's what's going to make a powerful impact.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You know, Malcolm said that one of the problems of the civil rights movement of the 60s is that we were fighting for civil rights as opposed to human rights. Malcolm said all we had to do was, they was on the same floor, but we was fighting for the right to sit at the same lunch counter, white people, to be able to drink at the same drinking fountain water, white person. We were fighting for the right to sit on the same toilet as a white person. You get what I mean? I don't find nothing noble at all being able to sit on the same toilet for a white person. You get what I mean? And that's what we were getting our heads cracked on instead of fighting for rights to be human rights. Let me read you what a law say, right? These are actually laws, right? And they're still on the books. Section 35 of the Black Code. It is lawful. Check this out. It is lawful to fire upon runaway slaves who may be armed and who, being pursued, refuse to surrender. Sound familiar? Section 36. Any person wounded or disabled in the pursuit of a runaway slave or slaves charged with any crime shall be rewarded by legislative acts, and if killed in the pursuit, his heirs shall receive the reward. Number 37. Yeah. Do that sound familiar? Masters, either in person or by others, shall have power to pursue and search for their fugitive slaves whenever, wherever they may be, without prior notice, except in the principal dwelling house. Right? Don't that sound like Brianna right there?
Yes.
They can come in anytime they want to. These have not changed. And so when we're fighting for civil rights, we should have been fighting for human rights, right? Because we're still not considered humans up underneath the preamble of the Constitution, as I just laid it out. We're considered persons and not people. Do you know what civil rights is? Civil rights is the ability to have your dog, to walk your dog in L.A.W.S or Home Depot. That's a civil right. See, a dog got his civil right. You get what I'm saying? We couldn't even sit at a lunch counter, but you can take your dog in the, see, a dog has more civil rights. A dog has more rights as a human. You know, I was laughing with my friend the other day. I said, look at that dog coming in here. He ain't even got no mask on. Ain't nobody saying nothing to him. Get what I'm saying? So,
you know
as
it.
a joke. Yeah.
You know,
true.
but along that same vein, Michael Vick, look at all the time he got for fighting a dog.
Thank you. For a dog, but a dog can come in and unimpeded. You get what I'm saying? And as a matter of fact, you get petted and rubbed on the head, you know, good boy and all that kind of stuff. But I don't knock anybody who's marching and protesting. Somebody came up with the number. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's the only number that I heard. They said that protesting is 3% of the struggle. The other 97% is done changing the laws, legislation, and what have you. But however, if we didn't have the protesters, as survivors speak, with Trische, Duckworth, making the noise, bringing awareness to the problem, then we wouldn't even know the problem existed. Okay? So we need those people out in protesting, banging the pots and pans, making the noise of this. And then we bring awareness that we do have a problem. And then those of us who as myself, who have put myself in position to come inside the system and make changes from the inside out. Because we don't change the laws, these laws still are on the books. You know what I'm saying? Every justice of the peace, this is number 34, may order the assembly of the posse committees to disperse runaway slaves and may authorize search for firearms, ammunition, stolen goods, and apprehend slave suspected of having committed crimes. That is the second clause of the 13th Amendment right there. You follow me? So we're fighting for civil rights when we should be fighting for human rights, to be able to be as free persons, to come and go as we choose without being impeded upon our movement or hindering anybody else's life to be or to be free. That's what free is. But we're just fighting for civil rights. So it takes all of us, as the sister just said, all of us to get into our own lanes and fight cohesively and not get in each other's way and not knock each other for what they do, because we all are integral parts of this machinery. But laws, right? Legislatively advancing white supremacy. And if we don't start getting engaged at the political level, and those people who we are supporting, those people we have supported, we got to put our foot back on their behind to make sure that we voted you in office, not to become a part of the status quo. And once you done got in office, you done forgot all about the hard work that we got behind you. And then all of a sudden you're going to forget about us and shuck and jive. No, that ain't going to happen this time around. Okay?
Well, when you said put your foot, I cringed.
Yeah. We can't allow to happen. See,
But
one thing we have, this is what we do. Once we elected people that we have chosen to represent us, we think that everything is okay, that they're going to do what they promised to do. That don't happen. What's happening is they come up there and get to the seafood and steak dinner and get full on some food, and then they easily get compromised and forget about us because they done got their belly full.
yeah, they get comfortable.
Keep them at home first. You get what I'm saying? Make sure they report to us in the community, feed them into the community before they start going off into them places and stuff like that and get tricked. And that's what happened to us. We put our foot from off their behind and assume that they got it. No, that ain't what happened.
You know what? You just said it.
Well, hold that thought, Trische. We're going to move to this break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the illusion of black progress, when black faces in high places have not been able to parlay integration into the real movement of black power and black liberation in our community. So the illusion of that. Hold that thought, and we'll be right back.
From the slave ship to the chain, from the taskmaster's whip to my brain, kidnapped, enslaved, raped and killed by the Lynch clan again and again. Is it the origin of the skin or the face of a race? Why you don't care about me?
Now I know you don't care about me. I'm just a nigga walking down your street. The brother did nothing wrong, but now his life is gone. So I know you don't care about me. Code of silence, you say. Yet your actions speak so loud and clear. The L.A.W.S killers going free, paid by society. Now I know you don't care about me. Hey, we should be burning and looting, believe me. Start exchange 41 for 90. Our ancestors were built these countries under sticks and whips and kicks and punches. Meanwhile you're living like some Brady bunches. Tell me where the justice, much less the taxes. We're worth much more than the thinking taxes.
Touch, kill and maim. Their injustice remains the same. Killing the people in the Queen's name. No one ever gets the blame. And my people keep them down the drain. All these crimes are done to we. They'll be written in black history. Crimes of injustice and humanity perpetrated by society. If my people are living in poverty.
My struggle for survival is to be accepted and treated as a member of the human family, whose practice should reveal the fundamental right.
So you are listening to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie, and we are talking about laws legislatively allowing white supremacy in the just us system. And that Bob Marley tune, I know you don't care about me. I'm just a N walking down the street. And the depiction of some of the things that they showed was very heart-wrenching. Look at Ayanna here in Detroit, where the cop walked in and shot and killed that baby. She's just laying on the sofa at her grandmother's house. Our lives have no value. Trische, I want to go back to you. You had a thought that you wanted to portray. And I'll set that tone again, because we have illusion of black progress. Mm-hmm. When black faces get in high places, mm-hmm. but we still haven't been able to parlay any of our integration into a real movement. It's just black faces in high places, an illusion of equality, an illusion of being equal. And that's all it is an illusion. So I'm going to go back to you, sis.
Okay, I'm going to paperclip that because, woo-wee. I want to build on what Brother talked about for 1 second in the fact that I don't care who you are. You could be my friend. You could be my cousin. You could be my brother. You could be my mama. You could be my daddy. If we put you in office and you step out of pocket to what the people say, then we at you, period, point blank. And that's the problem. We got people that go and vote. They walk away thinking they did their civic duty, and that's only scratching the surface. That's only the same percent that they say of us out here marching. It's only scratching the surface because you get the person there, but you got to hold the fire to them to keep them accountable to what the agenda of the people are. And if you don't have somebody in that seat that holds the heart of the people, then they will bend and fold every time and make political moves. And we're already seeing it. And the thing is, and I hate to bring this up because everybody say, you shouldn't talk about him. He's a black sheriff. I don't care. The same
girl, I'm hot. I'm over here fanning. Woo-hoo.
Sheriff Clayton shared this story with me. God bless his heart. And about his grandfather and how he told his grandfather that he wanted to make a change, from the inside out. And if you don't get in there, you can't make a change. Okay. Well, I told him, I said, sir, we don't see you as an ally. We see you as somebody that Master done put over us. You're the overseer, basically. And at the end of the day, if you want to make true change from the inside out, then I need you, because you're the boss of the house, to tackle white supremacy and racism, which operates at the core of that office. Until you do that, you're just another face in the place that's powerless, and it means nothing. We're tired of the smoke screens. We're tired of the mirage. We're tired of the fantasy. We want people in those seats that are going to do what the people need. And if they don't, we got to get them folks out of here.
Yeah, it's just reorganizing themselves to continue white domination of black faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you just said, all it is white minds and black faces. Mm-hmm. That's all. You get what I'm saying? White minds is in black face. We have to. Okay, people don't like it, but I tell the truth straight up and down. I ask anybody. I want you to tell me, what did Barack Obama do for black people? What thing what exclusively did he do for people who are racially classified as black? Nothing. And people don't like it because they're so hooked on the field. He was the first black president. That's what he did for us. No. Only thing they got better up underneath Barack's administration was the advancement of systemic racism. Because if things had gotten better, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation right here today. But what we didn't do, what we did do, let me straight up and down say that, we did present him with an agenda, but he didn't talk to us. You can count how many times Al Sharpton held court with Barack Obama, but how many times did Dr. Cloud Anderson have when he was invited in there? None of them went in there. You can count that straight up and down. So what we have to do is those people who we campaign for, those people we put signs in, those people we put a vote for, we have a responsibility to go into their offices and sit down and say, hey, this is what we demand of you. And we don't want to hear no shucking and jiving, no this, that, and the third. Either you're going to get down or you're going to get out. I'm going to find a quote what Malcolm said straight up and down about that. And that's what we failed at. We cannot afford to do this in this hour, to expect people because they are black to watch out for what is the best interest of people who are racially classified as black, because we understand the history. They get up in there. I know what happens. God sees what happens. There's too many lobbyists. There's too many other interests. We don't have any money. You understand what I'm saying? But other cultures, other ethnicities, they have money. Other demographics, they have money, and then they give these black folks money to do their bidding, and we get nothing. You follow what I'm saying? White minds with black faces just to say he was the first black, she was the first black.
Yeah.
Come on now. We can't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? We can't
I'm
afford
done
it
with
because
it.
it's getting too late. I'm gonna read one quote to you, right? One more section from you, right? Now check this out. This is section 19. No slave shall, listen to this, no slave shall by day or by night carry any visible or hidden arms, not even with permission to do so. You know what them brothers talking about? I got CCW, I got position. I want to read that again because I think it may not hurt me. No slave shall by day or by night carry any visible hidden arms, not even with permission to do so, on pain of such arms being appropriated to any person who shall see them, provided that a slave may carry the arms of his master from the master to someone else, if authorized to do so by writing to the effect. What that simply says is that even if you got a CCW, even if you got a legal right to carry a gun, you do not have permission to do so. These laws are still on the books, and that's why when brothers, when they tell them straight up now, hey, I got a license to carry, this is why we're still getting shot innocently by the police, because, as you're saying, the laws haven't changed, right? Those black people still today, even though you have a piece of paper, you do not have the right to bear arms.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like, you get what I'm saying? I'm reading the law. I ain't just making this up. I'm telling you what's going on.
Philando Castile.
Thank you. So when they say, well, he looked like he had a gun, right? Then he gets off because he didn't have a legal right to have a gun anyway. And this is what you're talking about, sister, when you said that legally allowing white supremacy, because it's legal. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to fight at the law, at the legislative level, to change these things and continue on with our protests to make awareness of this is what's going on. So that's why we keep on these officers are found not guilty. This is why not being punished, because legally you can kill a black man. There has never been a time in America where it's not been illegal for a white man to kill a black man, ever.
You got that right. You got that right. You know, I'm done with the voting for somebody because they black. I've never been down with that. And Osama bin Biden, on down the line. You know, you're going to have to show me something. I don't have time for that.
Something for nothing.
Exactly.
Something for nothing voting need to end. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Ain't demanding nothing from people. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Getting Trump out or putting Biden in is not going to change our status here in America one way whatsoever.
Not at all.
Right. Only thing we're going to do is get a feel good. Because we got it. We don't, that's what I love about you two sisters. We're not here to make you feel good. We're here to tell you the truth, right? All you're going to get from out of this sister, I'm going to tell you, is a feel good. She was the first black vice president.
That she has yet to declare herself as black.
That whole part right there.
So,
you know,
she don't tell you the truth.
She don't declare herself as black. You know, and that's a whole show topic. You know, I had a conversation with someone to say, how black can you be when you marry outside of your race? You know?
Hello.
And you know, so that's a whole separate show, but she has never truly declared that. She skirts around the issue by saying, well, I don't have to discuss my race with anyone yet, because you really, you know, you're not blackety black. Right. You know, you have that 1% of black blood according to the laws that's on the books. You know, they'll say you're black. Yeah. But are you a sister? Do you have a black card? No.
Yeah.
Black
Yeah,
card revoked. You don't have one.
black. Yes, and that's why she doesn't identify herself as black because black is a social status. It's second class citizenry when you look in the law dictionary, and that's why she doesn't say that. Donald Trump. Donald Trump only paid $750 in taxes, and you know what he said? Check this out. He said that's because I'm smart. Donald Trump understands the law. He understands legally advancing white supremacy, and he's sitting up here doing it, laughing at you while you're doing it. That's what you're talking about, sister. Legally advancing white supremacy, so we have to get it in check. We can sit up here and argue and fuss all day long, but long as it's what the law says. And that's what they look at Trump as stupid. Don't get me wrong. He sit up here just smiling in your face. Why? Because he know the law. That's why he's still in office, because legally he knows that he's within the law. You're the one arguing with the man because he only paid $750 in taxes. He's sitting up here laughing at everybody else, saying you fools because you don't understand the law.
I want the number of his CPA. I wish somebody would float that across social media.
You can get mad. You get what I'm saying?
I agree. Ashley is on here. She's saying Kamala Harris is either declaring herself as black or Desi whenever it fits the crowd. I'm going to say this. I'm not a card-carrying Democrat or Republican. I have voted for both parties because I don't care what the affiliation to a party is. I will say this. If the Michigan Democratic Black Caucus dismantled itself today, I wouldn't even know it because I don't even know anything that they've done to create a presence in my community. So if they were dismantled, I wouldn't know it. I wouldn't know if the NAACP dismantled itself today, which I wish it would, swindle window. But even if they did, I wouldn't know it because I don't see anything that is of relevance or whatever that's going on in my community today. But I got in trouble this weekend about talking about what's going on in my community anyway. So I've been,
you did.
and I don't care. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. But all I'm saying is, and I'm not saying that those organizations did not have a part in history for paving the way. I'm not saying that they're not doing anything today. I'm saying I don't see any relevance. You know, I was reading a lot of posts on Facebook to say, I've been endorsed by the Michigan Democratic Black Caucus. Okay, well, do that mean something to somebody? It don't to me.
No.
I don't care who you endorse by. Who are you? I don't care what nobody else think about you. You need to be caring what the hell I think about you. Because I'm the one that got to color in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you know, we got to stop all these celebrations. We ain't won nothing, and we celebrate. You know what I mean? Every time we break huddle, we act like we should get a participation trophy. And that's what we get. And all we get is participation trophies. And we do more. So don't nobody celebrate more for nothing than black folks. You know what I mean? I'm just going to tell you the truth. We celebrate, I know we just talking, but we celebrate, you only have one birthday, right? Now we expanded the birthday from the birthday to the weekend. Now you done celebrated your birthday to the whole month, and now you're celebrating your whole sign. Don't nobody celebrate, and we in last place in everything except for having fun.
Agreed.
Don't nobody have no. Yeah.
She over there dying laughing. He telling the truth though.
Yeah, we in the first place for having fun. If Martians came down here right now, they would think that we is rich. You understand what I'm saying? By the way we party.
Oh yeah. Now we're gonna get it in.
We getting it in. Don't nobody celebrate nothing more than
eat up, light up, and drink up.
Yeah, turn up. That's what we always talk about.
It's going down.
So yeah, we celebrating because now we got the first black woman nominated to be vice president. Okay, well, is that cause for celebration?
No, she was down my block at the barber shop. So I guess that's supposed to be some. So okay, you came on 7 Mile to sit at the barbershop with Gilchrist. Who respects Gilchrist? Like,
Hello.
he ain't
Yeah.
black for real either. What the hell was
I
that
bet.
supposed to be about? But anyway,
Yeah, I bet you they didn't walk down there unsupervised.
nah, I bet you they didn't either. But thanks for coming through the community with your entourage at the barbershop. You really didn't speak to the community.
Right.
So what are you going to do for the community? You are just like some of the white politicians who come into black church during election time. You stop by Detroit, you probably won't bring your ass back if you do get elected. Right. We won't see you at Headliners Barbershop if you get elected.
Right.
You're not coming back nowhere near here.
Right.
But they need to step up their game. I don't see no Biden-Harris signs in my neighborhood. You better check with your precinct delegates. They might have got the check and didn't do the work, because I don't see no damn signs in my neighborhood with your stuff on it. So you better, if you're listening, you better check and see where your yard signs at. They probably still in the trunk of the person's car who picked them up.
Because they don't waste yard signs on us. They don't waste yard signs on us and things of that nature, because they know that we'll do well with just a gimmick. Oh, Camilla Harris came over here. Oh, so as long as we got the gimmick of it, then that'll be all right, instead of having to meet. I'm not knocking that she came, but when she comes, if I'm in that area, I want to know, what are you going to do to enhance my life and the life of my community members around me, period.
Exactly. Because she could have just drove down a couple of blocks. Like we have a few blocks. And Trische, you've been in my neighborhood. You have a few blocks decent. You turn around the wrong block, you would think you're in a third world country. That's where the hell she should have been sitting, on that block with the blight. Stop showing out. And my thing here, and then she want to sit down with Swindle Window. Okay, so we already know who the next speaker is going to be at the largest chicken dinner in America. Kamala Harris. That was just an extension of an invitation. Come to Detroit, sit with Swindle Window, and you get to speak at the chicken dinner next year when we have it.
You know what?
You're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble tonight, Valerie.
Whatever. Yeah. I've been in trouble all weekend. I'm good with that. I don't like to type out long conversations. I don't like to type those out. So I just been chilling. They can say what they want to say about me. It's two things you can do: scroll or delete.
Yeah.
But my mind is not going to change. I mean what I say. Like my grandma used to say, a hit dog, a holler.
Yeah. People wear that title talking about, a slogan, you know what I'm saying? Unapologetically black. I'm unapologetically black. Well, if you unapologetically black, then you need to show it. You understand what I'm saying? And be on the Black Coffee Show and say exactly what you got to say. Don't kowtow. Don't sit up in here and follow the party line with the status quo and not sit up in here and be bashful to critique your elected black officials. That's what unapologetically black is about, is speaking your truth. You get what I mean? Y'all shouldn't say that about this. Y'all shouldn't. No, it's the truth.
No, they call it bashing. You can't have an opinion. It's bashing, and nobody's bashing. I don't even know the lady. But I'm saying, if she wants my vote, why should I vote for you? It has to be other than you being black and female, and I'm not in a sorority or whatever. So what else do you have to offer me other than that? I cast one of those votes for Barack Obama already. I'm done. That's it.
Right.
This time you're going to have to be black and not whack. You got to do something.
Exactly. There's a good book that was written. I forget when it was written, but it's E. Franklin Frazee, The Black Bourgeoisie. You get what I mean? And that's must reading when you really understand what was going on. Somebody said, don't confuse the proletariat with the black bourgeoisie. They're two different ideologies. You understand what I'm saying? And we used to call them Uncle Toms. You get what I'm saying? And that's not what, that's an insult to Uncle Tom. You get what I mean? Who they actually are Sambos. You know what I mean? It was Sambo who worked for Simon Legree, who did the work for Master. And those we need to really start addressing the people for who they are. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, the largest sit-down chicken dinner in the world. It's time out. And there are so many things that are going on in this country, right, that we're ignoring. When you take a look around and you look at and this is not an insult to anybody because I respect them, I honor them, I like what they're doing. But if you take a look at the other cultures and the demographics, you get what I mean? Take a look at the Hispanics. Well, let's take a look at the Mexicans, those other groups, whatever they may be, they're bonding together up underneath one culture, Hispanic, their language. Take a look around at the Arab community. Look how they all bonding together. Take a look at the various Asian communities, whether it be Japanese, Chinese, or whatever. They're all bonding together, building their community. We're the only people act like that is something wrong by saying that I'm black and I'm gonna stand up for my sister and my brother and we're gonna build our community on our blackness. We're the only people who have a community that when we want to build our own stuff, that we're going to say, well, let's invite everybody in because we don't want to be racist and exclusive somebody. We got to grow up. We got to mature.
I agree.
And we can't no longer, we can't no longer to allow paternalistic white folks to dictate our progress. And if you're going to get into my parade, you need to get your behind at the end. And we got to quit letting these white folks, because they got a couple dollars, come up to the front of our parade.
Well, brother, that was a powerful way to close this show because we have run out of time. I want to thank you, as always, you and Trische, for always being by my side at my beck and call. When I call, y'all answer. I appreciate you. And we will do this again. I think we need to have a part 2 on this because we just scratched the surface. So thank you to everyone who's listening at 88.1 FM and on the Facebook Live. Thank you. You have been listening to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, where I don't try to spill the tea or daze you like you had a shot of cheap liquor. I just want you to see things from another perspective. Mine. We're out, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week. So long.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte.